business or American schools? President Biden announced that it was his priority to offer citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants. What did he think would happen? Just last month alone, 100,000 migrants were encountered attempting to illegally cross our border. Put that in perspective, 100,000. That's a larger population than President Biden's hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. The number of migrant children detained at the border had tripled in 2 weeks. They're in jail-like cells. The number of migrants who have tested positive for coronavirus after being released by the Border Patrol in Texas has nearly doubled. As Republicans, we know how to solve this problem. We could work with administrations to make it happen. Last week, I sent a letter to the president asking to sit down with him, to work on ideas, to reverse some of the misuse and misdirected policies that he had attempted at the beginning in creating this crisis. As of today, he still has not answered our letter to attempt to meet. Next week, we'll be traveling to the border myself with the 12 other members to see firsthand, to come back with solutions, to make sure our border is secure, but to make sure we can end this crisis that Biden has created. And with that, I want to introduce our Republican whip, Steve Scalise.
Thank you, Kevin. We're very concerned about this crisis at the border that has been created specifically by Joe Biden's policies. President Biden's border crisis has got to get reversed. If you look at where we are right now, you have thousands of people crossing illegally into the United States every single day. Those border states are getting overrun. It's a drain on their resources. There are super spreader caravans coming across. And this was all done by President Biden, and President Biden can address and reverse this policy. And we're calling on President Biden to reverse his policy that's created this Biden border crisis. It's not very complicated. When you look at what President Trump had done, the Remain in Mexico policy was an example of a president working with our neighbor, in this case Mexico, to solve a problem that not only existed at America's border, but it's created a new problem at Mexico's southern border, because many of the people coming across in these caravans are coming through Central and South American countries through Mexico. And so the original policy to remain in Mexico while asylum cases, for example, would be worked out was a much more humane process, and in fact reduced what we're seeing right now. In these caravans, you have young women who are being exploited. The human trafficking is getting out of control, and the abuse of these women should be a major concern. And again, this is something that President Biden created, and he can fix this today by reversing the order. He's got to recognize the policy failed. Any good leader would look in the mirror, and if they made a mistake, they would acknowledge this is a mistake, and they would fix it, because he himself can fix this right now. First step, though, is to admit that there is a crisis. It seems like the White House right now is in denial about the crisis right, as it stands. President Biden himself won't even go to the border. He sent a group of people down. He wouldn't even meet with them for days because I think he wants to ignore this problem. But the problem's getting worse. It's getting worse, and it's dramatically affecting other states. When you think about the fact that right now, President Biden is implementing policies that are keeping schools closed, yet he sent a message around South and Central America that our border is open. That's the wrong message. It's the wrong message for America, and it's doing a disservice to those people in those caravans who are being abused every single day. It's got to stop. President Biden created this problem. President Biden needs to fix the problem. But that'll bring up our conference chair, Liz Cheney.
Thanks very much, Whip, and thanks, Leader. We have to recognize that words have consequences and actions have consequences. When the Biden administration refuses to enforce our immigration laws, when they refuse to build a wall, when they pass legislation like the bill that we passed yesterday that includes money for illegal immigrants, this is what happens. What happens and what's going on right now at the border is foreseeable. It's a foreseeable consequence of their statements, of their policies. They caused this. They are responsible. And Speaker Pelosi is compounding the issue, and she is compounding the danger to the American people. Simultaneously, we are seeing the Biden administration open borders. We are seeing the Democrats in the House under Speaker Pelosi move to defund the police. move to infringe on the gun rights of law-abiding citizens. All of this combines to form a very dangerous and toxic mix. And when you are the President of the United States, when you are sitting in the White House, it's not enough to express concern about the challenge. It's not enough to ignore the challenge. It's an abdication of your responsibility if you ignore the challenge. So we're calling on the Biden administration to take action immediately to secure the border, to stop what we're seeing happen, to change the policies, to make clear that the hundreds of thousands of people that we've seen now attempting to enter the country illegally will not be able to do so. They need to reiterate and recommit to protecting and securing the nation and to protecting the American people. And with that, I will yield to the Republican leader of the Homeland Security Committee, Mr. Katko.
Thank you, everybody. What we are witnessing, of course, is Biden's border crisis. If you want to think of it another way, it's disorder at the border by executive order, to channel Dr. Seuss. Disorder at the border by executive order. I can say it 5 times fast. President Biden's knee-jerk reversal of productive and effective